Hey, if you're a big wrestling fan, you knew her in the ring as AJ Lee. Former WWE champion AJ Mendez Brooks is opening up about her life story in her new book, Crazy is My Superpower. And she's joining us this morning to tell us more about it. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, a lot of people, a lot of fans out there on WWE. And before we get into what you're doing next, let's talk about the person you were with the WWE. Tell us a little bit about your character and how the book kind of stems from that.
I always felt like I was hiding in plain sight. My character was the crazy chick, the crazy ex-girlfriend who would kind of wreak havoc and kiss people and then, you know, throw them through a table right after. And people connected to that right away. I think they saw there was something genuine behind my eyes. Little did they know I was struggling with bipolar disorder every day and still am.
And that's why you're here with us this morning, because you've written a new book about this.
Yes.
And, you know, bipolar disorder is something, well, mental health issues are something that are very stigmatized and not talked about. Was this something that you tried to hide for a while, and what finally made you decide to be open about it?
Yeah, my entire life I've tried to hide it from people, and I thought it was something I should be ashamed of, and it should be my shameful secret. And the book kind of goes through the journey of discovering that it is actually your secret weapon. It what makes you brave and strong, and you can take positives from seeing the world in different colors, really.
And do you have a history of this problem in your family? Tell us about that.
Yes, my mother was diagnosed almost around the same time I was, and we both suffered longer than me when we realized. It takes most people like 10 years from when their symptoms start to actually getting treatment. And that's what happened to us. And so it's just something we're extra susceptible to in my family, but I wanted to end up a little bit differently.
And so tell me this. So once you were diagnosed, you started receiving treatment, and it probably helped you become stronger. But if you could get a message to the people at home who are watching, who might be able to personally relate to what you're talking about, what would you want to say to them?
I would say that it's something that you can take one day at a time, and the first step is talking about it. I would suggest people go to NAMI.org/stigma-free and take the pledge to stop the shame and start the conversation. And if they want any information to look at their symptoms, or a friend of theirs or someone they love that's struggling, and see if they can find ways to help, I would suggest going to the JED Foundation, .org/help. That's JAD Foundation. Okay. And they target people who start struggling around the age I started struggling, a little bit younger, 14 to 24.
Wow.
Those formative years, you know?
Yeah, and you said you were just 19 when you started in the WWE. So this crazy character that you play and that you've based this book upon, was it your escape too?
I mean, definitely. The world of fantasy has always been my escape. I was always into video games or comic books or anime, and wrestling was real life superheroes. And so it definitely was what helped me save myself, and what made me feel strong, finally.
And so in a weird way, what was making you feel vulnerable made you feel even more powerful.
Exactly. I mean, this is something that I think people try to hide their flaws or change them, and we need to learn that you can take it and embrace it and turn it into the best thing about you.
Okay, so someone's watching this morning and they feel like maybe this is something that they've been struggling with. What advice do you have? What should they do immediately?
I would say to talk to someone that they trust, a counselor, a teacher, a friend, someone who they know is not going to judge them. And just start the conversation and take it day by day. You know, go online, do your research. And I know a lot of people are scared to start the process, but I always say it takes way more guts to admit there's something wrong and respect it and treat it.
And you've done that, and now you feel like you've really learned from it, and you're trying to help others. You've finished this book, but you told me you were getting ready to start another one. What's the next book going to be about?
I am. This book is definitely the journey from accepting mental illness and using it as a strength. And the next book is kind of, you know, what next? What do we do for therapy? What do we do, what not to do? I have many stories of that.
Yeah, because you've been through it.
Yes,
you know. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a continuation for sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're very brave to come out and talk about this, and the amount of people who are going to benefit as a result. I'm sure, you know, you'll never know the impact that you're going to have. But thanks so much.
Thanks
for sharing your story. I think it makes a big difference.